On this episode of the Turnbuckle, Rey Mysterio was sidelined with an injury. Bobby Fish makes his pro boxing debut, geez Louise. And Tony Khan has been blasted by Conan for the wasted talent of Jade Cargill. Folks, it's time to hit a crossroads into some wrestling news because it's time for the Turnbuckle. Rey Mysterio was pulled from the WWE SmackDown World Cup tournament due to a lower body injury. Dave Meltzer confirms a Ringside News report that Mysterio was replaced in the World Cup by Mustafa Ali after suffering an unspecified lower body injury to either his foot or ankle. Mysterio was reportedly in a walking boot at Friday's SmackDown taping. Dave writes, Rey Mysterio was scheduled for the World Cup, but he had either a foot or an ankle injury and was replaced by Mustafa Ali. He was in Indianapolis backstage with a walking boot on. He's not expected to be out more than a few weeks, but wasn't going to be able to do the tournament. Mysterio last wrestled on an October 30th house show in Mexico City at Arena CMDX, teaming with AJ Styles and Raquel Rodriguez in a mixed trios bout against Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley of the Judgment Day. Mysterio also worked the night prior in Monterey in the same trios matchup. In his most recent televised bout, Mysterio challenged Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown in a bout that was taped on October 28th, but aired November 4th. That's very interesting. Okay, I didn't actually know that. All right, so Mysterio's out. I'm really upset to hear about that. Apparently, he was going to be in the World Cup. I did not, obviously I would have known about that, had he actually been in it, but it seems like he's going to be out. I don't necessarily. So, Triple H, Rey Mysterio was like, I'm going to quit because I don't want to work with my son because he's breaking my heart. Look what you're doing to your mother, And Triple H was like, don't worry, I've got just the thing for you. And when I found out that he was going to be in, I think it was like the number one contenders match, I really didn't want him to win, mainly because I feel as though that should have either gone to like Sheamus again or Ricochet or something, but he won, and then he was in a fantastic match with Gunther. I'm not even going to fault him for that. Okay, that match was absolutely fantastic. He didn't win, obviously, but I feel as though that he was obviously on track to be in some type of program, in some type of storyline. He was getting featured prominently on television is pretty much what I'm trying to say. And I feel as though that this was probably some type of stepping stone for him to potentially be in some other type of program down the line. But seeing as now he's going to be on the shelf for a little bit with the foot injury, there's really no telling what exactly he was going to be doing and where exactly he's going to be ending up now, after he recovers, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with that. Next, Bobby Fish makes his pro boxing debut, and he wins by a second round TKO. So, competing in the undercard of the Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Deji Olatunji exhibition bout in Dubai, Fish defeated Boateng Prempeh via second round TKO due to an apparent shoulder injury. Oh, great. In the clip below, it's unclear how Prempeh hurt his shoulder, but after taking a glancing blow, he dropped to a knee and the fight was called. The 46-year-old is currently a free agent after his AEW contract expired, as the two sides were unable to come to a new deal. Fish made his Impact Wrestling debut at September's Victory Road. He competed at Bound for Glory and then unsuccessfully challenged Impact World Champion Josh Alexander for the title shortly after. Listen, I don't know anything about boxing, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this is what he should be doing or blah, 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 okay? He's boxing. He's doing something outside of wrestling. He's keeping himself busy. He's keeping himself busy and active, right? And this is obviously something where you have to stay in shape and you have to be above a certain type of weight class and that sort of thing. So the point I'm trying to make is that he obviously doesn't want to sit around, right? He doesn't really want to wait for the opportunities to come to him. He wants to go out and he wants to find the opportunities. And I really rate that, okay? I really respect that about him, and I really like that he's going out. And it's not even wrestling. He's actually trying something new, to be honest with you. He's actually trying something completely different. Now, the shoulder injury, it's like, okay, now I don't even know where to begin with this, but the fact that Bobby Fish was in his first match, and he technically won, not because he knocked him out or because he was beating the mess out of him, okay? It was essentially because, I guess my man, because I didn't see it, I guess my man, he either threw a punch or maybe Bobby Fish just has such a lethal hook Hook, that it just dislocated his shoulder and he was unable to compete and he will never be the same ever again. I don't actually know. But listen, I'm glad Bobby Fish is out and he's doing something and he's staying active, and here's hoping that either A, he goes back into the wrestling ring at some point and he's happy, or B, the boxing career takes off and he's the next Floyd Mayweather or the next Mike Tyson. We'll have to see. Finally, Tony Khan has been blasted for wasting Jade Cargill's talent in AEW. While speaking on the Keeping It 100 podcast, Conan blasted Tony Khan for his booking of Jade Cargill and Wardlow, claiming that he was wasting their talent. Bro, what a waste of talent with Wardlow and Jade Cargill. Specifically, everything they've done with them has been brutal. The Wardlow name, everything, bro. They've done a really bad job with him. They had something really hot. Jade looks like a star just standing there, and they don't do her any favors either. The Nyla Rose storyline that she is currently in right now is not the best. I'm not going to sit here and say that. The last match that she was in was so bad that JD actually got grilled by the entire women's locker room for how bad it was going to be, and it was as bad as he was going to say. That's what I love that so much. I love that so much. JD got picked up and thrown into the active volcano, and they all danced and sang as his body burned up and his skin and blood boiled as he cried out in pain. And then they went back to the village and found out that the fight was just as shit as everybody presumed it was going to be. It was so bad that they cut a promo in the middle of the match, and then Marina Shafir, as she was getting the finisher, had the most deadpan look on her face that anybody could possibly give. It was as if Jade Cargill lifted her up, gave her a little prostate exam just before she went down, and then 1, 2, 3, that was the end of it. One of the worst matches, barely any build. Marina Shafir is just the most boring wrestler on that roster, okay? I could wrestle better than her. I'm just gonna say that because it's fun to stir the pot every now and again. So, I mean, is her character being wasted? Yes, to a certain extent, yes, it is. I feel as though that you could do a lot more with her. She could be in a lot more interesting storylines, or maybe, and this is just me spitballing here, you could give her some pretty formidable opponents. I'm not saying Nyla Rose isn't formidable. I'm actually more excited about the Nyla Rose storyline than I am about the Marina Shafir storyline. Although, to be fair, I know her. I don't know her, actually. So, maybe at the end of the day, Marina Shafir is Nyla Rose in disguise. Who knows? Jeez Louise. Same with Wardlow. So, Samoa Joe turned on Wardlow. Great. I mean, Wardlow's already a champion, so unless you're planning on making him the double champion, I don't necessarily see why you had to do that. To me, personally, I felt as though that was the most telegraphed heel turn in history. That's right up there with whose side is he on as Hulk Hogan is walking out. Like, oh my lord, man. What are they doing with him? What's going on? Why are they doing this? Ay, man. I'm gonna sit here and say, oh, here's hoping that at some point it gets turned around and they actually do something different. But I don't actually know, to be honest with you. I don't actually know. I feel as though that this is just going to be how they are for the foreseeable future. And who do I think is going to win? We're going to do a bit of a sneak peek for my predictions video that's coming out later on this week. Who do I think is going to win between Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose? I don't know. It's really hard to say. I feel like they're probably just going to give it to Jade to continue her feud, because if they give it to Nyla, that means that they're going to have to think of storylines for Nyla, and based on the storylines that they give most of the women in this division, I don't think the storyline's going to be that good. So I don't actually know. What do we talk about? Rey Mysterio's out with an injury. I didn't know that. I also didn't know that the SmackDown that he was on with Gunther was pre-taped. I wasn't aware of that. Hopefully he makes a speedy recovery, and hopefully he's back in the ring sooner rather than later. Bobby Fish makes his pro boxing debut. I almost said pro wrestling because, they both have those 3 letters in the name. He didn't really win by, flying his fists. All he did was, I guess he punched him, and then he punched him in the shoulder. He went, ow, my arm. And that was pretty much it. I don't actually know. And Tony Khan has been blasted by Conan for the use of Jade Cargill. Now listen, is Jade Cargill a horrible wrestler? I mean, at first she kind of was. She was a bit green, I'm not going to lie to you. But she's coming to her own. She's got a character. She's absolutely fantastic. Wardlow is fucking perfect. And it just doesn't make any sense that they're not having anything get done with them. I don't necessarily see why this type of thing is happening. But you know what, man? I'm not Tony Khan, and I'm not Jade Cargill. Cargill, okay? So, other than that, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. All right, we're going to absolutely destroy the Commanders today. Carson Wentz is a pussy. I know he's not playing, but as an Eagles fan, I legally have to say that every single day that I wake up, all right? So, well, folks, hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs all around.